Say hi, Charles. Say hi, Charles. I didn't think you were going to do that. Right. This is an update from the office. So 2 shelves have gone out. Sorry. We've done a door casing. We've done a windowsill. We've done a window frame, sorry. And the next thing to do is a shelf. And that's the next thing to work on. I think by now you'll have seen most of what's happened, because we put in on the second channel what goes on in the workshop and what goes on in the building company. I'm doing one for Radiant Advertising too, because there is a book going out on Wattpad. Well, I don't call it a book really. An archive of tales from the vaults. Where did you get that name, Steve? Well, the name Tales from the Vaults came from, we were sat in a pub one night and we were having our meal and some guy started effing and jeffing. And technically it goes over my head. It sails over my head, as things do. But my mother and dad and my next door neighbour sat there and they were kind of going up and complaining. And my stepdad basically said that when he used to go to the pubs and the clubs, people used to go in the vaults. And we thought maybe this Tales from the Vaults, we thought maybe we can go explicit. Now, before you even have a go in the comments, right? Explicit doesn't necessarily mean sexual nature. If you look at the definition of explicit, it means also that we can talk about other things in there. I've actually done a video on my secondary channel. In fact, you're on one of the videos, aren't you, Charles? Yep, there's an interview with me, there's an interview with Charles, there's an interview with Andy, and you get to know them properly. Now, there's a channel called As Good As You, and she talks, and technically, I think explicit stuff tends to be stuff that people don't like, technically. And those people walking into the vaults, they're going to get that stuff that they're not happy about. Maybe mental health stuff. Things like depression and suicide. Oh dear, I've said the word. Which you're not going to get on the secondary channel. There will be those stories told, but censored for YouTube. And Facebook. So you're not going to see that. But there will be tales that do get told elsewhere, and it's going to help other people, I guess, and help ourselves, I think. But just to let you know, the tales are out there. And I think we're going to start doing Bigo live streams as well, where we can tell the tales there in a much more explicit manner. Yeah, because we see a lot of mental health subjects as explicit, as Steve was saying. That's part of the explicit nature. Well, I mean, what I see as explicit and what you see as explicit is totally different. But if you actually look at the word, the definition of explicit, it doesn't just cover swearing and sex. It's that's a very narrow thing, because I see explicit stuff as things that are censored. There's the stuff that's kind of keeping the children safe. stuff like suicide, mental health, um, you know, mental health, drugs, drug names, drug culture, um, all that sort of thing that you can't really talk about properly, um, because otherwise you get thrown off social media, you get thrown off. I don't know about YouTube. I think on our secondary channel we are making those videos, but we're tiptoeing around the subjects. Whereas on things like Wattpad and this archive thing that we're getting on, writing archive, on both those, we're not censoring the things that we're censoring on other platforms, because we know that we can get away with it. And we do know that the people reading it will obviously they'll know that those subject matters are there. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I think suicide seems to be a subject that gets censored. I don't know why, because I think, is it that if we talk about it more, people it'll advertise the fact that it's okay. I think that's sort of happening subliminally. Oh, it's okay to commit suicide. Well, no, not really. But I don't know, because there's a lot of people saying it doesn't happen in the imaginary world. Well, it does, unfortunately. We've had a few people that it's happened to. And well, there was a guy who I went to school with, he was gay, and he was not one of those that pushed the agenda, but his parents were very anti. They were very anti-gay. His parents, and I mean, they were beyond the man is a man, a woman's a woman. Oh gosh, I know what you mean. They were sort of against the whole, like, destroy. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, gay is an illness and all the rest of it. So, when he left school, we didn't know till a good few years after. We got told that he'd done away with himself. Somebody found him. They found him. He'd hung himself. And then there was Bernie's friend who tried to hang himself and didn't get it right. So he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing that." It's strange because I don't know. But like Daphne's sister, she's tried to kill herself. You had suicidal thoughts. It happens in any way you look at it. And in today's world, like Steve was saying before, in today's world, it's sort of I don't know, it's a strange culture. I see it as a trend, but not a trend that you can just get away from. And it's, you know, and these are the things that we don't necessarily talk about. It's strange because I think that would be a weird question if you know, in my school, if someone said to me, "Oh, Stephen, are you thinking of killing yourself today?" And I turned around and said, "Well, no, not really. There's times that I felt like killing the teachers." But we don't. we don't. We don't promote that sort of thing on any of my channels. But no, that's what I felt like on a couple of times, because. But I don't know what I'll do in today's education. I prefer the era that I grew up in. I know I was forced to conform, and it's something that I wish on my kids, but I certainly wouldn't. I don't know what I'd do today's culture. It's a good job that I had the upbringing that I had, and the, you know, because the sense of humour I have is pretty wicked. I wouldn't say it's wicked, but there's not a lot of people that would get my sense of humour, and I think people today would be crying in tears. You know, I mean, that was the thing when we were at school, we were taught to get a sense of humour, you know? We were taught to have one of those, you know? I was very lucky. But I think today's culture, there's no, you know... I mean, some of the jokes we used to have, oh, crumbs. They weren't very PC, some of the jokes we had at the office, but it goes without saying. We used to shout the word condom when Jack walked in the office. Oh, yeah. We used to think, what's the thing that we can talk about today that we'll probably get bollocked for? Yeah. This definitely can't go on my second channel now, because you've said the word bollock. I wanted to swear for the best 20-30 minutes. We have the one rule in this workshop, that we can swear, but in reason. Yeah. Well, we're not doing a YouTube video either. This is the swearing room. Yeah. Well, we had at college, when we were doing the DVD library, we were told, this is the swearing room, but you can only swear within reason. Yeah. I mean, if you cut your finger, you're not going to say, oh, bother. Oh, bother, oh, blow. You're not going to say that, are you? You're going to say, oh, fathers. I've just cut my fucking finger, you bastard. Yeah. So, you know, if you cut your finger, that's fine. Swear away. It's strange because it's weird, because why? That's the thing. Why aren't you allowed to say those words? Oh, I know, yeah. Well, that's another thing. Some swear words are technically, they've gone milder and blunter as the days have gone on. You know, the F and S words, yeah, they'll probably terrify your grandmother, but Um, there are other words that technically don't, and it's like, you know, it's them words that real grab you by the balls. Mm. You know, like the N word. Yeah, but that's a cultural word, and people can't. It's not necessarily a bad word because it's a cultural. The reason why people call, like in hip hop culture, they're calling it to them, you know, to themselves, really. Mm. It's a territorial word. Yeah, outside it's offensive because it's used in the wrong way, and it's you know, people are using it in the wrong way, and it's like the whole slave culture thing. People are using it to call those people out, so it's about being called out, and that's what offends people because they're being called out in that way. But it's also, it's people in those circles can you know, it's like a lot of people in our, you know, the blind community. I know a lot of people use the word blinkies, but I know a lot of people that get offended by that. I know some fully sight people, strange enough, that get offended by the term blinky. Blinky. Seriously. I think I mean, blinkies, we technically used it for, I used to use it for a tech word because I thought it was a pretty cool and in the geek community, a lot of blind geeks out there, or blind nerds, they get called blinkies. It just depends. Anyway, we've got stuff to do. Yeah, and you've got a trailer to back up. Oh gosh, are they still arguing down there? I don't know. You were down there last. Anyway, we are out. We are indeed.